Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Sadia Yakubu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes channels 276. The presidency has debunked a report by the International Center for Investigative Reporting claiming that President Bola Tinubu is currently sick and in critical condition. The president's media aide, Bayo Onanuga, dismissed the rumor as false and baseless. The center, in a recent publication, alleged that preparations were underway by President Tinubu's medical team to fly him abroad for urgent medical attention. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Tajuddin Abbas, Speaker of the House of Representatives, to chair a reconciliation committee of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Bauchi State. A statement issued by Musa Krishi, media advisor to Abbas, stated that the committee held its inaugural meeting in Abuja, with Abbas expected to resolve the internal bragging in the party's Bauchi State chapter. Members of the committee include Mai Mala Buni, Governor of Yobe State, Yakubu Dogara, former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abdullahi Gumel, Tinubu's Assistant on National Assembly Matters, Senate, and many others. Nigeria's Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Kayamo, says aviation workers have suspended the plane to shut down the country's aviation sector from Monday. Kayamo disclosed this in a statement on his X account, in which he said the unions in a joint statement had agreed to suspend the action to engage the government. Kayamo noted that he would work with the unions to resolve all their demands, one after the other. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has predicted thunderstorm and rain from Monday to Wednesday across the country. The agency's weather outlook released in Abuja envisaged morning thunderstorm in Abuja over the northern region, with moderate rainfall over parts of Sokoto, Kebbi, Adamawa, and Taraba states. The weather outlook also forecast thunderstorm with moderate rains expected over parts of Bauchi, Borno, Kaduna, Kano, Jigawa, Taraba, and Adamawa states later in the day. In the meantime, the federal government had forecast a heavy rainfall over a 5-day period that may lead to flooding across 15 states in north and 68 locations. The heavy rainfall warning issued by National Flood Early Warning System Center of Federal Ministry of Environment called on stakeholders and residents to take urgent precautionary measures, stating that the affected areas are expected to experience rainfall likely to cause flooding around August 10th to 14th. The warning comes as the National Emergency Management Agency said a total of 140,228 people in 21 states have been affected by floods so far in 2025. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund says it has released over 100 billion naira to selected tertiary institutions across Nigeria to expand training in medical science and address the shortage of healthcare professionals in the country. Chairman of the Trust Fund Governing Board, Aminu Masari, disclosed this in Katsina, noting that the intervention aligns with President Tinubu's directive to reverse the brain drain in the health sector. Masari said 3 tertiary institutions in each geopolitical zones have each received 4 billion naira to execute project and academic expansion targeted at boosting their capacity to admit and train more students in medical fields. In another development, the Nigeria Education Loan Fund has announced that a total of 449,039 students have so far benefited from its student loan scheme since its portal launched on May 24, 2024. In its latest report release, says the scheme has disbursed a total of over 86 billion naira as of August 6, 2025, saying its disbursement includes over 47 billion naira paid directly to 218 institutions as tuition fees and over 38 billion naira given to students as upkeep allowances. Ahead of Edo State Senatorial and House of Representatives by-elections, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and its candidate for the Edo Central Senatorial election, Prince Joe Okoji, have urged the Independent National Electoral Commission and security agencies to be professional in their activities on the day of the election. They made this call during their campaigns around communities in the district while speaking to journalists after a meeting with traditional rulers across the senatorial district, insisting that the Electoral Commission is under obligation to act professionally, just as he expressed confidence that he would win the election. Okoji said his priority would be to urge the federal government to fix federal roads in senatorial district, all of which is bad shape. The military has neutralized more than 100 terrorists during coordinated airstrike followed by ground assaults and clearance in Makakari forest of Bukuyum local government area of Zamfara state. The development occurred in the early hours when the thunder of military aircraft and the relentless advice of ground troops signaled the beginning of an operation that would leave over 100 bandits dead. Their motorcycles, smuggles, and other strongholds in ruin. The security expert Zagazola Makama says intelligence operative of Operation Fansenyama had tracked unusual movements across the Sunkai, Kirisa, and Barukush axis, which are all known for bandit havens. You are watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returned, Trump pledges to move homeless people in Washington, D.C. far from the city. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The federal government has commenced the rollout of a national electronic fiscal system of modernized Nigerian tax administration, curb evasion, and enhanced transparency in revenue collection. In a statement, the special advisor on media to the Federal Inland Revenue Service Chairman, Dari Adekambi, said that in less than 2 weeks since the launch, at least 1,000 companies representing 20% of more than 5,000 eligible firms have adopted the system and began integrating with the FIRS and MBS platform. The Federal Inland Revenue Service said the system, which incorporates an electronic invoicing solution known as the Merchant Buyer Model, went live on August 1, 2025 after a successful pilot phase that began in November 2024. The Abuja Chapter on Commerce and Industry says the federal government reforms are transforming the livestock sector with the potential to raise its contribution to the country's gross domestic product to 5% by 2030. The Industry Director General, Agbade, said in a statement that the livestock sector could increase income by up to 40%, create about 20,000 jobs in the first 5 years, and generate foreign exchange through export to high-demand markets in the Middle East and Europe. He further said that this while unveiling the Chamber's upcoming annual Livestock Development Summit Trade Fair, an exhibition scheduled for December 1st to 6, 2025 at the at the Tokumbo Kayode Sand Trade and Convention Center, Abuja. The federal government says it is doubling down on efforts to make Nigerian self-sufficient in food production, and it's starting with one of the country's largest rice farms. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, visited the 1,003 hectares Jangwa rice farm in Awe, Nasarawa State, a flagship project engaging hundreds of youths and women in commercial rice production. Kyari noted that the Tinubu administration is determined to close the nation's food demand gap, strengthen ties with state governments and private partners, and cut rice imports, while pledging continuous federal support and promise to return after harvest to assess process. Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals says it has commenced the receipt of 4,000 compressed natural gas-powered trucks needed for its fuel distribution logistic program, set to start on August 15. In a statement, the company said the initiative aimed to transform the fuel distribution landscape within Nigeria by reducing logistic costs and enhancing supply efficiency for customers. The Group Chief of Branding and Communication, Dangote Industry Limited, Anthony, said the commencement of the initiative marked a groundbreaking development in Nigeria's fuel distribution network. And on foreign scene, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says Australia will recognize the Palestinian state in September. Albanese said his government would formally announce the move when the United Nations General Assembly meets in New York. Australia's announcement comes as Canada, France, and the United Kingdom are preparing to formally recognize Palestine at the meeting next month, joining the yes majority of United Nations member states. United States President Donald Trump has pledged to evict homeless people from the nation's capital after days of musing about taking federal control of Washington, D.C., where he has falsely suggested crime is on the rise. The announcement comes after Trump threatened to deploy the National Guard as part of a crackdown on what he falsely said is raising crime in Washington, D.C. The White House declined to explain that legal authority Trump would use to evict people from the city. The Republican president controls only federal land and buildings in Washington. Pope Leo has invited the faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square to pray for peace and appeal for the release of hostages and to end the increasing desperate situation in Haiti. Speaking from the window of his study overlook the square, the pontiff also welcomed the peace deal between Armenia, signed by the country's leaders. Haiti's government announced that it is implementing a 3-month state of emergency in the country's central region as gang violence surges. And in sports, reigning Nigerian Premier Basketball League champions River Hoopers are looking to defend their title ahead of the new season, which will tip off on August 28th. River Hoopers, who won their 6th league title last year by defeating Hoops and Reed 7-54 in the playoff final, and will look to retain their crown for the 3rd straight year. The organizer said the league will run from August 28 to November 16th and will be presided by the registration period from August 11 to 28. Nigerian senior men's basketball team, the Tigers, touched down in Angola Sunday ahead of the 2025 FIBA Afro Basketball Tournament, which tips off on Tuesday. The team final 12 players roster for the tournament was released before embarking on the trip to Luanda for quadrennial showpiece set to run for August 12 to 24th. The roster includes experienced NBA shooting guard Josh Okogie, who pies with a trade with Western Conference franchise Houston Rockets, defensive specialist Akobundu, veteran forward Talib Zanna, veteran star Okoye, and guard Mike Nuga are some of the prominent names on the list. Manchester City star Savinho is set to join Tottenham Hotspur after Spur opened club-to-club talk to sign the Brazilian this summer. Fabrizio Romano says the negotiations are ongoing between Tottenham and City, as Savinho is also open to move if both clubs can agree on fee for his transfer. Tottenham Hotspur manager Thomas Frank has already indicated Savinho as ideal player to help improve his squad. That's it on Global TV Midday News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Sadia Yakubu saying thank you for watching.